Some heroes wear uniforms, others carry guns, but the greatest heroes carry hope. This is not just a story about a Japanese doctor's life in Afghanistan. It's a story about love stronger than borders. Let me take you into the story of a Japanese hero's life in Afghanistan. In the valleys of Afghanistan, where drought once cracked the earth and hunger shadowed every home, a man from far away arrived. Not to take, but to give. His name was Tetsu Nakamura, but to Afghans he was Kaka Murad, Uncle Murad. He was not born here. He did not speak the language at first. Yet, he loved Afghanistan so deeply that he gave it more than years of his life. He gave it all of his life. This is not just a story about a Japanese doctor. It's a story about love stronger than borders, about service without conditions, and about how one person can water not only the land, but the hearts of an entire nation. So, my friend, keep listening, because by the end of this story, you will understand why all of Afghanistan remembers him, and why we should too. Chapter 1. The Man Who Came with Hope. In the eastern valleys of Afghanistan, people still speak his name with respect. They call him Kaka Murad, Uncle Murad. For many, this name is not just a title. It is a symbol of kindness, loyalty, and love. But who was Kaka Murad? And why do Afghans remember him with such deep affection? To answer that, we must travel far away, across mountains, deserts, and seas, to a small town in Japan. A childhood in Japan. Kaka Murad was born as Tetsu Nakamura in 1946 in Fukuoka, Japan. He grew up in a country that was recovering from the devastation of World War II. As a boy, he saw how communities could rebuild themselves when people helped one another. His father taught him about hard work, and his mother taught him about compassion, the deep feeling of wanting to help others. From an early age, Tetsu wanted to become a doctor. He believed that healing people was one of the most noble things a person could do. He studied medicine at Kyushu University and trained to treat people with skill and care. The call to serve. After becoming a doctor, he worked in Japan for a time. But his heart felt restless. He did not want to spend his life only in comfort, while others in the world suffered without help. In the early 1980s, he heard about a small clinic in Peshawar, Pakistan, near the Afghan border. The clinic needed doctors to treat refugees, people who had fled Afghanistan during the war. Without hesitation, Tetsu volunteered. This was his first step toward the land that would one day call him Kaka Murad. Meeting Afghanistan. In Pakistan, Dr. Nakamura treated Afghan refugees suffering from illnesses like leprosy and tuberculosis. He listened to their stories of families lost, of villages destroyed, and of the struggle to survive. One day, he crossed the border into Afghanistan to deliver medicine. What he saw changed his life forever. Villages were poor. Many people had no clean water. Children were sick not just because of disease, but because of hunger and thirst. The rivers that once gave life to the land had dried. Dr. Nakamura realized something important. If there is no water, there is no life. Medicine alone cannot save these people. A doctor turns into a builder. At first, his mission had been to heal people's bodies, but now he understood he needed to heal the land too. He began learning about irrigation, the process of bringing water to dry land. He studied ancient Afghan canal systems, spoke to farmers, and learned from elders. In 2000, when a terrible drought hit eastern Afghanistan, killing thousands, Dr. Nakamura and his team began building canals, dams, and water channels. He used simple tools and local knowledge, proving that great change does not always require high technology, only determination and cooperation, earning a new name. Over the years, Dr. Nakamura transformed thousands of hectares of barren land into fertile farmland. Wheat fields returned, fruit trees blossomed, and children could once again drink clean water. The people began to call him Kaka Murad, Uncle Murad, a name that meant he was one of their own. He ate with the villagers, wore Afghan clothes, and spoke the Pashto language with pride. He was not just a foreign doctor anymore. He was family. Lesson for us all. In life, some people wait for others to bring change, but others, like Kaka Murad, become the change. He did not ask, "Why doesn't someone help these people?" He asked, "How can I help them?" His story teaches us a powerful lesson. You do not need to be born in a place to love it, and you do not need to have much to give a lot. In the next chapter, we will learn how his irrigation projects saved hundreds of thousands of lives, and why his name will never be forgotten in Afghanistan. So, my friend, keep listening, because the story of Kaka Murad is not just history. It is a reminder that one person with courage and compassion can change the destiny of a nation. If you want, I can continue directly into Chapter 2, The Land Turns Green. Again, so your audience stays engaged, that's where the emotional and visual parts of the story really grow. Chapter 2. The land turns green again. When Kaka Murad first began digging canals in Afghanistan, many people thought it was impossible. The land was dry, the rivers were small, and the tools were simple. But Kaka Murad believed that where there is determination, there is a way. He started in Kama district, Nangarhar province. With the help of local villagers, he designed a canal that would bring water from the Kunar River to thousands of hectares of farmland. They worked under the hot sun, side by side, using shovels, picks, and their bare hands. It was not easy. There were days when the wind blew dust into their eyes, and nights when everyone was too tired to speak. But Kaka Murad never gave up. He worked harder than anyone, lifting stones, carrying tools, and showing that a leader is not the one who shouts orders, but the one who works beside you. Water brings life. Months passed. Then one morning, the sound of rushing water filled the air. The canal was complete. The river's water began to flow into dry fields that had been empty for years. Villagers watched in amazement as the brown, cracked soil drank the water like a thirsty traveler. Farmers began planting wheat, rice, and vegetables. Soon the land turned green again. Children laughed and played by the water. Women carried pots of clean water to their homes. The village, once on the edge of hunger, began to thrive. More than medicine. By the mid-2000s, Kaka Murad's irrigation projects had restored over 16,000 hectares of farmland, enough to feed more than 650,000 people. He built not just one canal, but an entire network of them, along with dams, wells, and small reservoirs. He often said, "One canal can save more lives than 100 doctors." And he was right. His work didn't just heal bodies, it gave people dignity, self-reliance, and hope. Living like the people. Kaka Murad never separated himself from the community. He wore traditional Afghan clothes, ate the same food, and slept on the same simple bedding. He spoke Pashto with a smile, and he listened to everyone, from farmers to elders. He once explained, "If you want to help people, you must first become one of them." Because of this, he was loved not only as a doctor, but as a brother, an uncle, and a friend. Honor and respect. In October 2019, the Afghan government gave him honorary Afghan citizenship, a rare recognition for a foreigner. It was their way of saying, "You are truly one of us." But his work was not for awards, it was for the people. Even at the age of 73, he continued building canals, checking fields, and walking long distances to ensure everything worked properly. The shadow of danger. Afghanistan was still a dangerous place. Armed groups were active, and foreigners were often targets. Friends and colleagues warned him to leave. But Kaka Murad refused. "If I leave now," he said, "all the work we've done will be wasted. These people are my family. How can I abandon them?" Chapter 3. We will reach the most emotional part of this journey, the day Afghanistan lost Kaka Murad and the lessons his life left for the world. It was a cool morning in Jalalabad, December 4th, 2019. The streets were waking up, shops were opening, and people were beginning their day. Kaka Murad sat in his white pickup truck, heading toward a new canal project. He was smiling, as he often did, thinking about how many more fields would turn green. But that morning, tragedy struck. Armed men attacked his vehicle. Bullets shattered the glass, and the man who had given 35 years of his life to Afghanistan was fatally wounded. Along with him, 5 of his Afghan colleagues also lost their lives. News spread quickly, from Jalalabad to Kabul, from the valleys of Nangarhar to the cities of Japan, and then to the hearts of millions. A nation in mourning. The day Kaka Murad died, Afghanistan wept. In villages where he had built canals, farmers stopped their work and gathered to pray. In homes he had visited, families lit candles and shared stories about him. On television and radio, people called him Afghanistan's son. In Kabul, government officials lowered flags to half-mast. In Japan, people stood in silence to honor him. It was as if 2 nations were joined in one heartbeat of grief. The funeral of a hero. His body was wrapped in a white shroud and flown to Japan, but not before Afghans paid their final respects. Thousands came to see him off. Some touched the vehicle carrying his coffin, whispering prayers. Others cried openly, saying, "We will never forget you, Kaka Murad." He left the land he had loved, but his spirit remained in the flowing water of the canals, in the shade of the trees he helped plant, and in the smiles of children drinking clean water. Why he stayed until the end, many people, both in Afghanistan and Japan, had asked him to leave the country because of the danger. But his answer was always the same. A doctor's duty is not to run away when life is hard. If I leave, who will stay? For him, helping Afghans was not a job. It was his life's mission. He once told a journalist, "If you have water, you can live. If you have hope, you can rise again. My work is to bring both." The legacy of water and love. By the time of his death, Kaka Murad's projects had brought water to more than 650,000 people. Entire valleys that had been deserts now grew wheat, pomegranates, apricots, and vegetables. Families who once depended on food aid could now feed themselves. And perhaps most importantly, he had shown that kindness has no borders. A Japanese man had become an Afghan uncle. A foreigner had become family. Lesson moments. For my dear English learners, here are some key words from this part of the story. Tragedy, a very sad event. Mourning, the feeling or expression of sadness after someone dies. Legacy, what a person leaves behind after they are gone. Devotion, deep love and commitment to something or someone. Kaka Murad's legacy was not only the canals and farmland. His greatest gift was his devotion to people he didn't have to help, but chose to help. The lesson for us all. In life, there are many ways to measure success. Some measure it with money, others with fame. But Kaka Murad measured his life in lives saved, in fields green with crops, and in hearts filled with hope. He proved that. You don't have to be born in a country to love it. You don't have to speak the same language to understand someone's pain. And you don't have to be rich to give the greatest gift: your time, your care, and your heart. The conclusion: why we remember today, when the canals he built carry water through the farmlands of Nangarhar, it is as if Kaka Murad is still there, smiling, walking beside the farmers, and checking that every drop reaches the soil. Afghanistan loved him because he loved Afghanistan without asking for anything in return. He came not for power, not for money, but for people. And in the end, he gave the ultimate gift: his life. My friend, as you listen to this story, remember, the world does not only need heroes who fight battles, it needs heroes who plant seeds, build hope, and bring water to thirsty lands. Let Kaka Murad's story inspire you to look at your own life and ask, where can I bring water? Where can I bring hope? Because in the end, we are remembered not for what we take, but for what we give. Thank you, my friend, for listening to the story of Kaka Murad, the man who brought life to the land and hope to the hearts of Afghanistan. If this story touched you, remember, learning English is not just about grammar and vocabulary. It's about understanding people, their dreams, and their courage. Each new word you learn is a tool to tell stories that can inspire others, just like Kaka Murad's story inspires us today. So, keep learning, keep listening, and most importantly, keep your heart open to the world. If you found meaning in this story, please subscribe to English Corner and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a chance to learn and be inspired. And before you go, share this story with someone who needs to hear that one person can change the world. This is English Corner, where we learn English through stories that matter. Until next time, remember to bring water, bring hope, and bring kindness wherever you go.